Welcome to the Consult Club, your trusted space for real conversations about beauty, health, and personal growth. Here, we cut through the noise, bringing you expert insights and rigorously vetted products so you can feel confident in your choices and truly connected to yourself and others. I'm your host, Laura Beecham, founder of ShopDerm. With my medical expertise and passion for skin health, I'm here to empower you with science-backed knowledge in the industry's most coveted, expert-tested beauty products. Because when it comes to skincare and self-care, you deserve nothing but the best. Hi guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So we're so excited to have Mary and Leah here of Holy Grail Skincare. So Elixir number one, which is currently your only product, was our hero product at our Charlotte event. So all of our Charlotte peeps have a bottle in hand, and feedback is rolling in and very, very positive. So we're so excited to get to hear more about your story.
Yeah, we're excited to be here today.
Yeah. So Mary and Leah, y'all are Atlanta based and we are just so excited. So tell us how y'all have gotten to the place where now you are founders of a skincare brand launched early this year. Give us the full scoop.
So we live in Virginia Highland, and we met about a decade ago volunteering. And we worked so well together. People joked like, "You all should actually work together," and we always joked about it. We usually, and we get together more, but at the beginning of the year, we'd usually get together and just talk about like our New Year's goals and what we have going on and whatnot. And over coffee, we met, and conversation kind of just went a bunch of different ways and ended up to our skincare routines and what we were doing and how we were kind of exhausted because we were spending all this money and we didn't know if it was working. Sometimes we just wouldn't do anything because it was also overwhelming. And we just kind of looked at each other and said, you know what? We should come up with our own. And so one Sunday morning in a coffee shop, this crazy idea was born. And 2 years later, here we are.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because you think, I don't know, we really did it, right? Which feels really good. Is that we had this idea and we've been executing. It's been a lot of fun and very gratifying to have this product that we think is so fantastic.
Yes. And so we initially set out and we started talking to our friends. So we started validating the product. That's what we called it. We're like, hey, let's start talking to people, because one of the things that we notice is we're really two of the only people we know who don't get Botox, and so that was kind of surprising to us. So we're not anti-Botox at all, to be clear, but Mary and I both wanted something that was very effective but was also clean. And so we started talking to other women and kind of hearing what they wanted out of a product. And we heard over and over and over and over that they didn't know what to do with their skin. They didn't know if these products were working. They're just kind of throwing money. And we realized that there were a lot of women in the same situation that we were in.
Totally overwhelmed.
Yeah. It is very overwhelming. That's basically why what I do exists with the consult club, because hear the same thing day in and day out. Is this working? Is this worth it? Should I be buying this? Do I need this? Do I not need this? And then I also just want to take a moment to say, yes, you did it, right? I think that being like a female entrepreneur is such a weird space to be in because there's so much like imposter syndrome that exists. And I read somewhere early on that like the difference between you and everybody else is that you actually did all of the work to design, manufacture, create, sell, market, ship a product. Like that is a lot of work and a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of money. And when people will like sort of belittle anything that any founder does, it's like, okay, then you go do it.
Right.
Like, then you go do it. Like, and so I do think like huge props to y'all to have an idea and to actually do it, right? I actually, one of our other guests one time, she runs a PR firm and she had actually had like a little idea for me on something. And I sent her an email, said, I love what your idea is. I have somebody on staff that can execute this, but I wanted to be respectful. Do you want to execute it and have me pay you? And she was like, an idea is a dime a dozen. It's the execution. So props to y'all on the execution because that is no small feat.
Thank you. We were actually just talking about too, like the concept of like failure. Like
Mhm.
we're not afraid to fail, right? And so you learn. Like you can't be successful without failure. And so many people are so afraid to fail that they never start. and that's why they never complete anything. Yeah. And I was just saying to Mary, like, I would rather be 70 and have a series of failures, but have learned something and like tried and lived this really robust life than getting towards the end of my life and being like, I never really tried anything at all and have all these regrets.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a lot of it too, is just like not being afraid and just doing it.
Yeah. Jumping in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at a spiritual session last week with my like women's group, and the leader of that group was talking about how one of the things that she thinks is most important is choosing to participate in your own life every day, which sounds so obvious and simple, but I think particularly as like a working mom, I just kind of wake up and respond a lot to what's happening around me. And it was just a really simple, fascinating, but powerful language to say you are going to choose to participate. You guys are choosing to say we want to do this and we're going to do it. Like we're going to do it. We're going to participate. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We're going to learn something. We're going to pivot. We're going to, whatever. So tell me like the first thing. So you have the idea. I know from talking to y'all that like one of the key things you wanted was something that was going to be clean, a little bit more botanical based, retinol free. And so you have, you sit down, you kind of like piece together, these are all the ideas that we have. What's the first step? Did you hire a chemist? Did you hire a chemical engineer? Where did you go first?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is like Leah talked about, we talked to our peers, right? Who's our ideal customer, and then interviewed them, spent a lot of time talking to them, listening. So that was the first thing. It's like, okay, where are we even going to start? And what's the problem that we can solve here? After we did that, then we sort of started thinking about what are our values, right? We want it to be clean, we want it to be sustainable. And then we started looking for a chemist, which was very hard because we're a small business and most of the minimum order quantities are huge, right? Millions sometimes, right? So finding somebody that would one take us on, but also we wanted a partner because we are not skincare experts, we're not chemists, right? We're not physicians. We wanted to make sure that we were partnering with people that brought that expertise to the table. And then we could be the testers, right? We could see, is this what it's working? We're, have the vision, but really partnering with somebody who was willing to have that expertise, but work with us, because so many people we interviewed was really, well, you send us the idea, we disappear for 6 months and then we come back. And we didn't want that. We wanted somebody who would explain the science to us, tell us, okay, well, we have to add this or we can't add this, to work with us and really partner with us.
And we also wanted someone who would listen to us, because we did start doing our own research and, reading clinical research to the best of our knowledge and listening to podcasts. So we could go to the chemist and say, what do you think about these ingredients? And she would say, oh, these are great. Or she'd go, well, I wouldn't do that one with this one, and here's why. And so we wanted it to be a back and forth conversation. And then we also talked to some estheticians and dermatologists and whatnot, just to get some feedback as we were starting to narrow down the list of ingredients as well. And then when we got samples, we gave it to some estheticians to try with different skin types, different skin tones, all of those things to make sure that it really was working for a wide variety of people and skin types.
How many iterations did y'all, I mean, you probably can't even answer that because there were probably a ton, because I know from working with other brands, and recently one that just launched and I was kind of a part of it before it came to market. There are so many little micro decisions that y'all are making about like, if we add this, that changes what we need to have preservative wise or not preservative, or, there are all these little nuances to creating a product, particularly y'all's product. Something that's so great about what you guys have is that it has multiple things in it, right? So sometimes a brand really like, and none of these are good or bad, but sometimes a brand really hangs their hat on like, we have this one really potent, powerful active ingredient. And then we have some other things that like support that. And y'all really kind of went with this, you have your Matrixyl 3000, which is a really great peptide, not irritating. You have your bakuchiol, which is of course really good plant-based retinol alternative that's pregnancy safe and not irritating. And then you have these like prebiotics and botanicals that we have some pretty early clinical trial data on, but definitely align with all your values in terms of like being clean. But they have some early data show some really beneficial results, and narrowing down that list is hard. Like it's like picking which one do you pick. And I imagine a lot of it came down to stability, you know, ingredients playing well together in the formulation. And then I know that you guys have your pretty robust goals in terms of what you consider clean, which that's also going to just across the board eliminate some products.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that that was it. Is we wanted this to address as many skin issues as possible to simplify it for women, because we had a lot of women that were like, "I'm just too busy. I don't do anything, or I don't have time to figure out a 12-step routine." So we really wanted the serum to have as much in one bottle that addressed multiple issues, and so that's why we kind of did all of these different ingredients. And you're right, it was a lot of going back and forth with
A lot.
um,
And there was other things, not just the benefits, but we wanted it to absorb really quickly.
Yeah.
You don't have time to use skincare. You also don't have time for 5 minutes to have it dry back, right? You know, you need to be something that can absorb. I think ours absorbs in less than a minute, right? So you really
Well, and the texture really does matter. There's like a really, I'm not going to name names, but there's a really, really great brand that I love one of their products, but their other product, it's too sticky. I don't like it. I don't recommend it. And that really matters. Like you're not going to use it if it's going to be stickier, if it's going to pillage, your sunscreen or your makeup. The other thing that I always find really interesting with these, so y'all's is fragrance free. There's no added fragrance, but it does have a little like light botanical fragrance to it. And that was something that we had a very specific conversation about. The botanicals in your product are there for their active ingredient purpose, not for fragrance. And I'm very sensitive to fragrance just in general. And then also what I do, right? I see patients with rashes all day long that I'm super sensitive to anything that's fragrance free. But I do think sometimes people like having a little bit of like a botanical fragrance. So I think y'all have really hit this little sweet spot. There's another brand I worked with that I was like, they added a fragrance and I was like, you have to take that out. Like it is not adding any value. You are now just putting yourself at risk for allergic reactions because you just added a fragrance only with no other purpose than fragrance, which is just kind of insane that that's still happening. But it's a story for another day.
Well, and the other thing that people may not realize is to make things unscented, a lot of times they're putting really harmful chemicals in there to make it unscented. So ours does have a smell. Some people like it. Some people find that it's because they're used to, oh, it doesn't smell like lavender, right? But the odor, either way, whether you like it or just like it disappears almost immediately. Right?
It does. It really does. Like, I don't know that I would have noticed it, except for when I first started testing it, right? I'm like, you know, giving it a robust test. But I don't know that I would have noticed it. And again, I'm very sensitive to smell. I don't know that I would have been like, oh, this doesn't smell good. I mean, think about all the people that are, putting hot dog water on their face. With
Right. And my aunt is incredibly sensitive to smells like you are. You get a migraine, and we've had several other people that are like, I don't know if I want to use the product because any kind of smell, they've had no issues at all. And they're hyper sensitive.
Another interesting thing about just developing a product in general is you cannot make everybody happy, right? There are going to be people, and I think that's what I find so unique about your product. So a lot of people truly cannot tolerate retinols. They just can't do it, right? I actually can very barely tolerate a retinol. Some people, they're putting prescription strength tretinoin, Tazorac on their face, and they're just fine, right? But then there also is just the niche of what somebody's looking for. Even if you can tolerate a retinoid, you may not want to use a retinoid. Just like a lot of patients are like, I don't want to have Botox, or I don't ever want to have an injectable, or I don't ever want to. And you get to do whatever the f you want. And so if you don't want to do that, then you don't have to do that, right? Like there's no magical thing you have to do. But I do think that in the space where you're not using things like retinols, you're getting into a little bit more of, okay, are these products going to work, right? What are the actives in here? Are they going to work? And for you guys to say, okay, we want to have these peptides, we want to have probiotics, we want to have things that are going to be soothing and non-irritating, but we also want to see results, which, of course, every product wants to see results, right? In theory, but it's hard to formulate that in a way that you're actually going to make that happen without some of these big time active ingredients.
And that was really one of the things that also prompted us, because I spent pretty much my entire 30s pregnant or nursing. And it was a really confusing time because you don't know what you can put on your skin. And so if you think it should be safe, it's really not safe. And then we have more and more people we know getting breast cancer and other types of cancer, and you can't use these toxic ingredients. So that was another big motivator, is there should be products that just without a doubt are just safe to use when you're going through these transitions and periods of life that most women face it, or a vast majority of women face at some point in your life. And so that was a big motivating factor for us too, just to kind of cut through that confusion.
So when y'all were developing products, launching products, what was the thing that you was harder than you thought it was going to be?
The bottle.
The bottle?
Yes, sounds like the craziest thing, that the bottle would be the hardest, but it was, we wanted something that was refillable, right? Because,
Mhm.
I mean, look, even if you don't use that many products, that plastic is not really recyclable. I mean, it is if you send it to somebody special, really not recyclable. And they're all ugly. I mean, you look at all of them, and none of them, even the prettier bottles, are not attractive. And we wanted something that, like the olden days when you'd have your perfume bottles out on your vanity, that you could have a product on your vanity that was beautiful and a pleasant experience. It's glass, so it has like a nice weight to it. The pump works really well. And also, when we were doing our research, we heard from women that they would hide all their products away in their drawers and cabinets in their bathroom, then they wouldn't use them.
They forget to use them.
So this way it gives you that visual cue as well. But it took a full year for the bottle, going back and forth. What color is it going to be?
Getting the color right,
getting the pump right.
Well, because what we find all these really beautiful bottles. We're like, we want this one. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, that's a perfume bottle. You can't do that because it's a crimp top, not a pump top. We're like, well, can't you just switch out the top? And they're like, well, that would be a custom manufacturing ring, and that's going to cost you $300,000, or whatever. Right. And you're like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. And so we would get so far down the line, and then start over again.
And then start over. It is a very, very unique bottle. It really is. I've never seen the lid in particular. Like, I've never seen a bottle that looks like that. And I've tried a lot of products.
Yeah. One of the things that was really important to us when we did our formulation and manufacturing, we wanted to be manufactured in the USA. That was really important to us. Yeah. And the second thing was we really actually wanted a female chemist.
Yeah.
Just because our brand supports women, and that felt intuitive to us. And we got that, and we wanted the bottle to also be manufactured in the USA. So we went down that path, but ultimately we couldn't do it. It wasn't sustainable. So we had to go abroad to get the bottle. So so the bottle ended up just being a completely different process for us than we anticipated. We thought it was going to be like the easiest thing. We had a Pinterest board with all these beautiful bottles. And then we're like, which one?
That's really funny. And then since y'all have launched, what have you enjoyed the most? I mean, I always laugh because being a brand founder is insane, because you have like 10, maybe more jobs within a company, and you're supposed to do all of them. And it's always funny, I think, when you launch, particularly with co-founders, to sort of realize like what you thought maybe you weren't going to enjoy and you do enjoy, or the thing that you thought you were going to enjoy and you actually like, I don't like this part.
Right. We definitely know what we don't like. I think what we like is hearing from our customers. We've had some just really good snippets where women have said, I finally feel like myself again. Like, what more of a gift can you give to a woman to feel like herself again? Or she just got a text message yesterday
from one of our customers,
that said, oh my gosh, I keep getting hit on by younger men recently. So it's like all these funny things. And then I have a customer who texted me and said she hasn't gotten Botox in like 4 months. But her husband came home and was like, did you go get Botox? Because she's been using it for a few weeks. And she was like, no. He's like, come on, you did. And she's like, I really did it. Yeah. So those sweet, just
that's so nice.
Where what you have, put some blood,
worked so hard on. Yeah.
Great. So that's the best part.
And the worst part, which is going to be no surprise to probably any entrepreneur, is the social media. It is so time consuming, and it's just the algorithm
constantly changes.
It is really takes a tremendous amount of time to do even little things. You think, oh, that's nothing, right? And it's
and then I was setting out to be an influencer,
right? That was not the goal. That was not the goal.
Not the goal. It's true. It's true. I think that it's interesting, particularly, and I don't know if you guys have gotten this, but I know when I first started like actually showing up on Instagram and social media, which I also hated, I still hate, to be clear. But I remember somebody stopping me somewhere, I don't know, somewhere with my kids and saying like, "Oh, are you like trying to be an influencer?" And I was like, No, not at all. Like, I don't want to be doing this at all. But if my goal is to get education to women and get like helpful information to women and the people that want that information, I'm gonna have to get on social media, right? Like, if I want to help people not be so overwhelmed, and instead of responding to 40 text messages a day about it, if I can post an Instagram story and get those people to watch that, that is going to be high value. But it's such a weird space to be in because you are like suddenly shifting from developing this like really great product that you believe in and has, you're like, this is going to be so good, to then, oh my gosh, now I have to get this information and distribute it with, and for people to believe me and to trust me, and without feeling salesy. Like, that's it, because you're not. You really do believe in your product. And so that's a really hard space to shift into as like a genuine, authentic person, to be like, oh my gosh, now I have to like share this without people feeling like I'm just trying to make money off of them. It's a weird space to be in. It's a very weird space to be in.
Like, I get my screen time report every Sunday now, and like my screen time is double what it used to be, and I'm like, no, but it's the reality. It's part of it.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So you guys launched in January, right? February? April. So still pretty early, but talk to me about like how you guys foster like community and authentic relationships. I know that's like a really big part of what y'all do. I know you give, with each purchase, you give back to, oh my gosh, what's it called?
Betty Brand.
Petty Brand Fund, which I imagine is a huge part of you guys fostering your community. Like, how have you been? I mean, it's really hard because when you first launch, I feel like there are a million things you can do, right? You've got emails, you've got social, you've got events, you've got pop-ups, you've got this, you've got that. What have you guys been doing or thinking about as a brand to try to really feel this community?
Yeah, I think there's two avenues. One is the Betty Brand Fund. It is an Atlanta nonprofit that supports women in need to just give them micro grants to help them get back on their feet, right? So this could be as simple as childcare so they can go to school or start that job, or cleaning products to start a cleaning company. So it's really about helping women in a really impactful way. You know, a lot of organizations are kind of giving to lots of people, right? And this is specifically these grants for women. So that's part of it. Other part of it is our more local community of our customers, right? And they supported us, right? Being a new brand and giving back to them. So we do this in a variety of ways. And for everybody who purchases the first year or more business, they will get a lifetime discount for all of our products, 10% off for the rest of their life. But we also are hosting in-person events to have our community come together, talk about skincare, just hang out and have fun. So we have one of those events. We had one in April when we launched, and then we have another one coming up this month.
We're excited. And then another
That's
thing
so
that
good.
we've done is we've started a group with other female entrepreneurs in our community.
Yeah.
And we meet up once a month and we just support each other. And I think that's so important because empowered women empower other women. And, the more that we support each other, the better that we'll all be. And so we're trying to
Yeah.
create that community where we're just all there for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really nice. And I do think it matters. I mean, I talk about a lot about how it's hard being an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur, and you're kind of like in a silo and you're like, "Oh, am I doing this right?" And there are so many things that we need to be doing all the time.
Yeah, no, it's so true. So I've owned a business for 15 years, a service-based business, just by
Hmm.
myself. And that is much lonelier than having a
Oh,
co-founder.
yeah, partner. It's so much fun.
It's just lonely. Like, you have no one to bounce the ideas off of.
It's
You're the
true.
bad guy. You're the
Hmm.
good guy. You're bad cop, good cop, everything. But when you have a co-founder, it's been really great to, have someone to.
How's y'all's dynamic been? Like, what's the? I feel like usually there's like a dreamer and then there's like a pragmatic in this
I don't know. I
duo.
feel like we're both dreamers.
We're both
We're a little of both. Yeah.
But we knew that from volunteering together for so well for so long.
Yeah.
That we knew, like, we definitely have strengths that overlap, and then we have strengths that complement. So we're both a little on the woo-woo side and dreamy,
Mhm.
but we're also very both like, let's schedule this out 3 months and reverse engineer it and figure it out. And I think it kind of ebbs and flows. I would say the only thing that I think that we've kind of fallen into buckets is more like I've been doing more of the marketing, so like social media and emails, and you've been doing more of like IT and finance.
Yeah, I have an IT background, so the
Well,
website,
that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
all of that. I think
Yeah.
it's so great though having a co-founder because the idea, I think our ideas are better, right? I'll say something and Leah will go, oh, well, what about this? Or Leah will say
Mhm.
something and it triggers an idea. So having somebody to work with has really been fantastic.
Yeah.
And just makes it more fun.
And rein you in when you need to be reined in.
Right, exactly. No. Yeah, there's definitely been moments of that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we had an unlimited budget, we could do some really great
Oh my
things,
gosh,
right?
we've got so many great ideas.
I know. Same. I always tell people, like, I'll call my best friend after, something, and she'll be like, how was it? I go, vibes were so good. If I could pay bills with vibes, it would be great. I just don't pay the bills, but same. If we had an unlimited budget, yeah, they do. They do. They get you there, they help. But yeah. So I always do like to ask a little bit about like your relationship with skin. So obviously we've heard a little bit about that, right? A little bit about you guys sort of struggling with wanting to find products that aligned with like what you were looking for. So I want to like circle back a little bit more. I know we've heard about like why you guys designed the product, why you wanted this product, but I also want to talk about like who the right person is to use this product. In my opinion, I think about this as a product for somebody that either A, really wants a clean product, botanical based product, retinol free product. So, like you've mentioned, someone that's like pregnant, nursing, or just in general, they don't want to use products like that. And it could be used with a lot of other products. So, I do have some patients, clients, customers, friends that are like, hey, I don't want to give this product up, or I've worked really hard to get to a place where I do use my retinol every night. You can absolutely use this with a retinol. You can absolutely use this with a vitamin C. You can use those with other products. A peptide is always something that I say is, your basics. If you were just talking generally speaking, it would be, vitamin C, retinol, sunscreen. And then I always say the next thing to add is a peptide, right? If you're somebody that you're like, I'm a maximalist and you're like, I'm already using vitamin C and a retinol, what else can I do? You absolutely could also add elixir number 1, 100%. It's still going to be beneficial. The bakuchiol is going to boost that retinol. You've got multiple peptide complex in there, which is super, super helpful. But then there's also the customer that's like, I can't take it on, right? Which I spend a lot of time talking about at our events. Don't buy a 10-step skincare routine if you're not going to use it. Like, talk about sustainability. That's a complete waste of money. It's a complete waste of product. It's a complete waste of plastic, all the things. And so if I can literally take on one product, then this is a great product for that because it is, like you said, going to help with multiple problems or focused areas.
Exactly. And to be transparent, we use vitamin C and retinol. Like those are things that we have in our routine. And we have some people who do that and we tell them where to place it in the routine. And then we have some people who are just like, I only use this. We're also like, please use sunscreen.
Yeah, sunscreen number 1.
But like, if you just want to use this and sunscreen, cool. But,
Yeah.
But if you want to use vitamin C, retinoids, moisturizers, like we absolutely recommend that too. It just kind of it blends seamlessly into a more complicated routine, and then it also can be standalone as well.
Yeah.
And I think for people who have super sensitive skin who can't tolerate retinoids, it's even this product. It's very gentle. We've had some people who have highly sensitive skin can start using it. We recommend using it twice a day. But then other people, they start slow and then they are able to use this and get all these benefits when they can't tolerate the other products.
And also, your product is pH neutral, which is something to note because I get this question a lot about layering products or like, do I need to wait? Can these be put together? If it is a pH neutral product, it's not going to interact with any other product. So the example I always use is if you're using like a peel pad or like an L-ascorbic acid vitamin C and you're putting that on your skin, you do need to wait before you apply another product because it can neutralize it. But with elixir number 1, you don't have that problem. So it really does play well with others, like we say. You can really layer that nicely, which helps. I think the second that you have to tell somebody, you need to, like you said earlier, you need to wait 5 minutes before you apply your next product. Like, I'm out. I can't. Like, this is insane. I'm just going to forget to do anything else, right? Like, if I have to wait.
Well, if you, let's say you had vitamin C, a serum, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen, and you had to wait 5 steps, I mean, that's like almost a half
We
hour.
Nobody has time.
wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. And I'm always surprised by how many people are using products that are neutralizing other products and they just don't know it. And I'm like, you are spending so much money and they're not working because they're neutralizing each other. It's a wild phenomenon. And then also, some people, even to kind of talk about patients that want a product that's going to be gentle and non-irritating, a lot of people cannot tolerate vitamin C's. Now, a majority of the time, they're using an L-ascorbic acid vitamin C, which, if you've been following Consult Club long enough, you know that I'm not a huge fan of L-ascorbic acid vitamin C's, but a lot of people cannot tolerate those because they get irritation, they get acne, they get redness. Again, this is a product that you could use twice a day and do nothing else and simplify. And then maybe next year you decide to say, now I'm going to add back in a vitamin C or I'm going to add back in a retinol, right? I think that something that can be helpful for people with a product like this is you can use it through all phases of your life. You can use it in the winter, you can use it in the summer, you can use it when you're pregnant, you can use it when you're nursing. And it does get tricky anytime I have a product that I'm like, this is a temporary product, or you're going to maybe need to go up on the strength or down on the strength. If you're in a phase where you're overwhelmed in life, which, to be clear, I'm there, that may be the thing.
Right?
Yeah, that may be the thing that like puts you over the edge, and then you just do nothing because you're overwhelmed. So I think,
That's what we've heard a lot.
yeah,
And we were
yeah,
shocked. I mean, there were women who get monthly facials, they do micro needling,
And Botox, but they don't
do their
do
nightly
daily skincare.
routine. Yeah, which is very
wild.
It's like
It's wild.
you're spending a lot of money and a lot of time making these appointments, but your daily skincare, is like gonna move the needle
Just
more than
yeah, yeah, it is. I tell people it's like going on a 5 minute walk every day is going to be more beneficial for your health than like running one half marathon. It's that daily practice is really big. The other thing I want to say about this product and really peptides in general is when I travel, I do not bring retinols, I do not bring exfoliants. I bring typically a peptide, a vitamin C, a sunscreen, and a really good moisturizer. Travel in general is a big trigger for people to get dryness, to get irritation, to get rashes. And so it's another again, this can be used in basically all situations, which is very helpful because again, if you're somebody that like travels for work a lot or whatever it is, simplifying your life is super high value.
Our product is super moisturizing too, and especially as winter's coming up. In the summer, I can use Elixir #1 serum and no moisturizer. In the winter, it's a great base to put your moisturizer on in the morning because it is that layering effect. We have glycerin, which is really going to get deep, it's light, absorb quickly, and then you can layer on the winter moisturizers that we need.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do love a glycerin. Yeah.
Sparked this a minute ago when you said something. The other interesting thing that we've heard a lot is women will buy products and use them for a week or two.
Right.
And say, it didn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you go to the gym for a week or two, you're also not going to see a big difference, right? You have to give ingredients time and you have to let the cell turnover happen. And so that's been a big part of like what we try to do with our community is educate
Right.
women on that.
The education piece is huge. It's huge. I mean, and I tell everybody same thing. Also add one product at a time. People will buy a 10-step routine and they start using it. And then I'm like, well, what are you going to just continue to buy the 10-step routine? You have no idea what is actually working and what's not working. Or if you get a reaction, how do you know which one to stop?
Yeah. How do you know which one you like? Yeah, if you are. And also our bottle, back to the, really trying it out, our bottle is 30% bigger than most bottles. And so you're getting with twice daily usage, you're getting a full 2 months, right? And that is, so you can really see the results, right?
Right.
And not just, oh, did this work? Did it not? Because it was only a 3-week supply.
And that was really intentional. Like we wanted
Yeah, it
to
was
do
very
that because we
intentional,
wanted people to be able to get through a bottle and say, oh, I see something.
Yeah, I see the results.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that a lot of times we don't look at the amount in a product. We'll compare price, but not size. And so that is going to be something, when patients are asking, or we always joke, I get like so many DMs and text messages a day with like, do I need this? I always laugh. And it's like, well, let's take a step. I always say to people when they ask, do they need a product? Like, well, first of all, what's the purpose of it? What is it doing? Is that something that you even actually need? Do you already have a product that's doing this? And then if you do already have a product that's doing this, do you like it? Is it working? What's the price per milliliter? Like, where are we on this? Like, and sometimes as women, you're like, I don't know. I just kind of, this one, like for y'all, like this bottle's really beautiful. And I just like, I kind of want to, or I want to support Mary and Leah and I want to try this one. Maybe you already have a peptide that you like, but we have different reasons. But I think that the big thing is knowing, like, is the active ingredient something that you even need? And then you get down to that nitty gritty of like comparing price. But y'all's hit so many of those because it is a bigger bottle than traditional, which is important, right? Because if you have to buy 2 bottles before you can tell if you like something, that's a big investment versus a one bottle.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I'm so excited for you guys. So everyone that's listening, please follow Holy Grail Skincare. It's Holy Grail Skincare Co. Correct? On
Holy Grail Skin Co.
Holy Grail Skin Co. on socials. We'll tag all this in show notes. We'll tag their website, and then we'll also, of course, tag our review of the product on Substack, which has some clinicals included in that. If you want kind of the nitty gritty of when to use it, how to use it, what the active ingredients are. And then sign up for emails if you're not already, because I know you all have some great education in your emails, run promo codes, discounts, things like that. And we'd love for you to support Holy Grail.
Thank you. Thank you so
It's
much.
been so much fun. Thanks for having us.
I know. Well, congratulations. You guys should be very proud. I mean, you have only been live for, I guess, what has it been? 6 months?
5 months.
5
Yeah,
months?
end of April.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's like such a big milestone. I'm so proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Feels good.
Yeah, it does feel really good.
It should. It should. Thank you for tuning in to the Consult Club. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Share an episode with a friend, and be sure to follow along on social media at The Consult Club. You can read more on Substack at The Consult Club.